You want to get your backyard summer ready, but you don't want to break the bank? Wayfair gets it. Planning on dining al fresco or relaxing poolside? Wayfair has everything you need to prep your space. Shop now and save up to 70% off during Wayfair's 4th of July clearance. Score huge deals on outdoor furniture, area rugs, and more. We're talking thousands of products for every style and budget. Plus, surprise flash deals July 6th. Don't wait. Shop Wayfair's 4th of July clearance now through July 6th at wayfair.com.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Most people overpay for car insurance, not because they're careless, but because switching feels like too much hassle. That's why there's Jerry, your proactive insurance assistant. Jerry compares rates side by side from over 50 top insurers and helps you switch with ease. Jerry even tracks market rates and alerts you when it's best to shop. No spam calls, no hidden fees. Drivers who save with Jerry could save over $1,300 a year. Switch with confidence. Download the Jerry app or visit jerry.ai/Libsyn today. That's JERRY.ai/LIBSYN.
Hello, my name's David Seaman, and this is the Three Lions Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the Three Lions Podcast. My name is Russell Osborne and this is an independent England football supporters podcast. Here we are again. The journey continues from a tournament that began on the 11th of June with our own campaign starting on the 17th of June against Croatia. We are still here, still in the competition. 4 games down, hopefully another 4 games to go. In a moment, I'll take a look back on our round of 32 game against DR Congo, and I'll also look towards our game against Mexico with Raul from the Colourful Kit podcast. And also, we'll hear from you once again, your thoughts on the game. Thank you, as always, for those. Actually, if you don't mind, can I please say once again thank you for your continued support. It is really appreciated. Lots of really nice messages about the pod coming in, means a lot, especially when I'm editing at gone midnight, knowing I have work in the morning and at the same time I've got an eye on a game being played on my phone. If you've not left a rating or a review on the show, don't forget you can do that wherever you listen to your podcasts. Give it what you feel it deserves. Also, I've had some great interactions over on social media too since the tournament began. Now I know social media, it has its downsides. It has many downsides. But if you are conversing on the same subject and we can all be adult about it, then it can be a great place. If you're looking for the show on your socials, just search Three Lions Podcast. It should come up. And as I've said before, you are more than welcome to contact me. The email is threelinespodcast@gmail.com, spelling 3, T-H-R-E-E. I'll always try and reply as much as I can. As with many social media accounts for podcasts, YouTube, the person you see or hear is probably the only one running it. A lot of us, we don't have a team behind us. It is just us. But thank you, as always, for listening, for tuning in, for supporting. Anyway, on to the game against the DR Congo, the Democratic Republic of Congo. Wednesday evening, 5 p.m. I'd wangled it, so I was home in time to watch it. 5 p.m. UK time was midday in Atlanta, in a stadium where the roof was closed and the aircon was on. Now, a lot's been made of the fact that we've not really been subjected to the harsh US weather so far. 2 games indoors and 2 in the rain, really. And, of course, all the pre-match talk was about Congo employing a low block. Can't believe I said that. Much like Ghana and Panama, but in the end, didn't really materialise. All the pundits seem to be fairly confident. Wayne Rooney, Joe Hart, Micah Richards. Wayne Rooney said he thought we could beat them convincingly.
Yeah, I just think more so it's about England, and I think for England just the little details which I think will be very important for them, and they are running, they are working, but I think they're doing it in wrong areas, not putting themselves in the best positions. I think if they do that and get them details right, I think they win this game comfortably.
You're totally right, because On
to the game. Declan Rice returned following the Panama game. Jed Spence also started at right back, and Madueke came in for Saka. In the 9 games that we've played against African sides in the World Cup, we've won 5 and drawn 4. Of course, the DRC had come through their group in 3rd place and were top of the 8th place table. They weren't to be taken lightly. And it has to be said, I don't think we really started on the front foot, and it was Congo who took the lead. Brian Simpanga, given so much freedom on the left, able to take control of the ball and strike it past Pickford at his near post. He had a great game, that lad. Amazingly, he plays in the 2nd tier of Spanish football for Almeria. How long he'll stay there for, I don't know. Someone may pick him up. Was it a surprise, though? Yes, maybe not. It's hard to not think, oh, they're not one of the regular big sides. But the game is different now, isn't it? I tried my hardest to try not to compare it to like the 1990 game against Cameroon. They were the African side then that made their way through to the knockouts. And it took us until the hydration break midway through the first half for us to start to get our act together, which I don't like. It almost feels like we're giving this hydration break some sort of credit now. Tuchel's having the chance to reassess and change things after 23 and a half minutes. That said, we upped the tempo, but we still couldn't break them down. Congo had a glorious chance to make it 2 as Wissa hit the post. And then there was a point towards the end of the half where Harry Kane found himself in the area and was brought down. Penalty. Surely. He certainly thought so. I did. Again, though, I thought, this is a bit like Cameroon. Lineker winning a soft penalty. I think it's a penalty in the Premier League. Maybe the Bundesliga too. But to the Saudi ref and the Qatari VAR, apparently not. So, half-time, 1 down. And it's here where I saw a tweet from Asif Burhan, who was on the show recently. He posted that we've not won a match at a World Cup after conceding the first goal since the 1966 World Cup final. Don't forget, his book, The Other Side of the Hand of God, is available at any good bookshop. But yeah, it was a stat that I thought, it's got to be broken. If we're gonna go through, we've got to break this stat. Tuchel chose not to make any changes as the side came out for the second half. And credit, well, you've got to give it to the Congo keeper, Lionel Mpazi. He seemed to save most of what came his way. But as the half went on, he did eventually make some changes. Tuchel, that is. The main one on the hour, Anthony Gordon for Marcus Rashford. And it has to be said that he made the changes, getting the ball into the box, something we'd struggled with before in the game. And it was his 2 assists for Harry Kane who got us out of jail. First on 75 minutes with a header downwards, which I think the keeper will probably be disappointed that he didn't keep it out. And then on 86 minutes, extra time looming large, it was Kane again, a thunderbolt after turning and hitting it hard and true into the back of the net. And it was here that we managed to hold it out and move on to the round of 16. Yes, that was the objective. Much like topping the group, it's knockout football. You just have to get through. But as I've said on numerous occasions, defensively, I think we missed that unity that we've had before when we've got Maguire and Stones together. Obviously, the right-back situation is there as well. Let's be honest, I think I'm only telling you what you already know. But I have to say, so far, I'm getting familiar Euro 2024 vibes. But anyway, over to you. Let's hear what you have to say on the game.
Hey, Russ. Hope you're well. Loving the pod as always. What a game. Yeah, I think we all knew it was going to be really, really tough beforehand. But wow, yeah, it was a real slog, wasn't it? I think for Congo to get the goal as early as they did, defended brilliantly. Goalkeeper was excellent throughout. And I think you could just see England just building the pressure, and actually had some really good chances, which just wasn't going England's way. Ultimately, we're just so thankful to have Harry Kane, aren't we? He's absolutely unbelievable, and he really has been a tournament for the big players. And thankfully, like we had Jude turning up in different times in the group stage, but yes, Harry Kane in particular has turned up tonight. I thought Rice as well in the midfield, and even playing at right back at times was just everywhere. But that second goal from Kane in particular was just absolutely wonderful, absolutely unsavable. Both through, and that's all that matters really, isn't it? It was very, very, very hard. It was very, very laboured. It was very much a struggle, but we'll take it. Unbelievable. On to Mexico, the Azteca, incredible.
Hey Russell, Lee from Hastings here. Absolutely cracking. So chuffed through to the next round. Bring on Mexico. That's what I say. I thought we could have stuck a few more away, to be honest. I think that a bit disappointed they scored, but could have been 4, maybe 5-1 really, if we actually think about it with the chances we had. But Harry Kane to the rescue. Here's on to Mexico then. Come on, England.
So that was a really tough watch for England fans. For all the world, it looked like another version of Iceland from 2016. It would have been complete humiliation. Another of those occasions where England feels the rest of the world is laughing at them. But this time it was different. And who do we thank? Harry Kane. 2 fabulous goals. One, just a trademark centre-forward header. And the next one, just world-class. The kind of finish that very few players in the world could achieve, and he's one of them. What a finish that was. 5 goals for the tournament, and England march on. It was a terrible watch, really stressful. Going into the last, 20 minutes, still behind, but then Kane intervened. Let's see if it can be a slightly less stressful occasion on Sunday night.
Hi Russell, Gary here from Channel England Football. What another night. We never do it easy, do we? I predicted 2-1. I thought it was going to be a tight game. Tonight's performance didn't surprise me. I knew Congo would cause us problems, and there's still, it's clear this England team still aren't at the best and quite some way off it. The defence has, that many holes in it. It's ridiculous. But look, a win is a win. And ultimately, over the 90 minutes, when you look at it, objectively after the game, once everything's calmed down, you'll realise England deserve the win tonight. Plenty of chances created. Harry Kane, what a god! I mean, that man is an absolute god. Thank God he was around tonight to get us out of the stuck. But yeah, England had the chances to put this to bed beforehand. But Mexico in the next round, you just feel like we've got to sort something out with that defence. It's just not right, and you feel like we're just clinging on a little bit with the way we're playing overall. But Thomas Tuchel, that's where he needs to earn his money. But yeah, absolutely chuffed to bits we've managed to get through. Cheers, Russell.
Well, what a win. I mean, the performance wasn't great, but we got the win. And in knockout games, it's the results that matter. And yeah, Harry Kane, once again, give that man a statue. And incredible. Just show him why he's our greatest ever player to me. Coming big in the big moments, and that's what he's there for. And I thought Tuchel's subs made a difference. I thought bringing Gordon on worked well. I thought putting Rice at right back, even though it's obviously not his position, I thought he covered him well there. obviously still concerns over the defence and maybe the wide players, but we know that when we get the ball to Kane and Bellingham, they do produce good moments. So it's just about getting the ball to them, and then we'll be fine. But defensively, obviously still concerns. I thought we looked really shaky. I mean, Congo could have got a few. They hit the post as well, and especially in that first half, we looked so open in midfield and out wide. So yeah, it's concerning, but end of the day, we just got to take game by game, and we got through, and that's the most important thing. And we look forward to a very early Monday morning against Mexico. Yeah, come on England.
Hi there, Russell and all the listeners of the Three Lions podcast. This is the day after the 2-1 win over the DRC yesterday. I think all of our hearts are in our mouth for most of the game, but we managed to find a way through. Overall, I'm actually really pleased with the performance, as strange as it is to say. I don't think the comparisons with the Iceland defeat or even the Slovakia defeat of the last Euros are quite accurate. But yeah, obviously, pleased to just get through above all else, really. And Mexico in the Azteca will probably be an even bigger test, but bring it on.
So then, England 2, Congo 1, Harry Kane to the rescue as England stuttered, stumbled all over the show in the round of 32 match in Atlanta. What a stadium that is, by the way. Jed Spence, I think, has had a bit of a nightmare there for England, and I think he needs to be taken out of the firing line, and we move Konza in at right back and bring Johnny Stones straight back in to form that Euro 24 back partnership for England. Going forward, Harry Kane to the rescue. Great goal for England, especially the second one. Absolutely fantastic strike and replicating that Bayern form for England. Looking ahead to Mexico, though, however, I think that's going to be a very, very tricky game, as we all know. At the Azteca, their record, lots been made of it, absolutely, but records are there to be broken. The atmosphere will be electric, but we're England, and our fans are also electric. I think not since the opening match of the tournament for us against Croatia has any team really gone out and attacked us and tried to implement their game style onto us. So it'll be interesting to see how we respond to that. If anything, it might help. It might actually help. Playing against low blocks is difficult. It's a difficult watch. It's difficult for the players. It's difficult for everybody. But we keep winning. So on to the Azteca. On to Mexico. Come on, you England.
So on to Mexico City we go. Mexico in the round of 16. This was the one that many people had their eye on. Should the draw, the games, the results go as hoped? I can't deny I am envious of those there. Who wouldn't be? Well, prices being quoted as being £2,600 on the resale sites. Stand by my decision to stay at home. Everyone will have their own situation and opinion. But that much for a football match? 90 minutes? Maybe 120? Maybe penalties too? That's wild. And that's just the lowest supporter level price, where face value was £224. Category 1 prices on the resale market appear to be around £3,750. I've said enough on prices before. So let's talk Mexico. A side that we've met only on 9 occasions. We've won 6, drawn 1 and lost twice, although only once in the World Cup. Back in 1966 in the second group game. And we all know the result of that tournament. We last met them back in 2010 in a friendly at Wembley, winning 3-1 thanks to goals from Ledley King, Peter Crouch and Glenn Johnson. So how did they get to this point in the tournament? Well, they topped Group A with 3 wins from 3, beating South Africa 2-0 in the opening game. Then South Korea 1-0 and then Czech Republic 3-0. They moved on to the round of 32 and saw off Ecuador 2-0. Now their goals have been spread across the side, but Raul Jimenez, formerly of Fulham, now back at Wolves, has a couple. And Julian Quinones has 3. Now he plays in Saudi. And West Ham fans will be aware of their captain, Edison Alvarez. Now, 3 of those 4 games have been played at the Azteca Stadium, a ground built in 1966. Iconic for so many reasons, for so many games played there. But it's 2,240 metres above sea level, 7,220 feet above sea level. It's 1.36 miles above sea level. The air is thin. It's hard work to adapt to. And it appears we're not going to acclimatise to it in any way, shape or form. We're just going in for the game. This is what Gary Stevens said about it when I spoke to him back in 2019.
And suddenly we were into the last 16. We then moved to Mexico City, and we prepared for that well because although we weren't playing at altitude, we'd been staying at altitude and coming down to play lower level in the group stages. So we're now Mexico City, we're at altitude. And the Azteca Stadium was monstrous, but the pitch was absolutely shocking. The surface was dreadful. We're playing Paraguay into the second half. Peter Reid struggling a little bit with a knock. Bobby Robson made the substitution. I went on for Peter Reid in midfield. And it was one of those quite famous commentary moments because on the pitch at the time was Gary Stevens Everton, Trevor Steven Everton, and Gary Stevens Spurs. And I think John Motson actually went, it's Stevens to Steven to Stevens on one occasion. It did actually happen.
Obviously, he's talking about 1986 there, 40 years ago. But if you want to listen to that full interview with Gary Stevens, you can hear it on episode 48. Now, England have played at the Azteca on 6 occasions before. Twice against Mexico in a goalless friendly in 1969. And then were defeated 1-0 on a tour in 1985, where they also played Italy and West Germany. We lost to Italy and we beat the Germans. And then, of course, there was the 1986 World Cup, where we beat Paraguay 3-0 there and then lost to Argentina 2-1. Now, there's been a lot of talk about Mexico only losing twice there. Yes, that's true, but it's also false. The 2 games they lost that you've heard commentators talk about were competitive games. They were World Cup qualifiers against Costa Rica in 2001 and Honduras in 2013. Well, they lost a few friendlies there back in the late 60s and also friendlies to Paraguay in 2007 and the USA in 2012. Both friendlies. But yes, let's be honest, it is an exceptional record. Context is everything. Need to know these things. And as I said, about stats, they're there to be broken. Let's welcome to the show Raul from the Colourful Kit podcast and website. Raul, hello there.
How's it going, Russell?
Very well, thank you. You join us from, you're not actually in Mexico, you're in Chicago, but you've got Mexican roots, which I'm sure we'll come on to in a moment.
Yeah, most of the people in Chicago are either Mexican or Polish.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
I mean, we just signed, the Chicago Fire just signed Robert Lewandowski, and it's been built. Chicago's like, they always call it the second largest Polish city in the world. So I don't know if that's true, but...
Didn't know that. Well, Lewandowski, you've got a gem there, especially if he can stay fit and score the goals.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yes. Oh, go on then. What's your Mexican roots?
Both of my parents born in Mexico. So they came to Chicago maybe 30 or 40 years ago.
Right.
So a lot of my family lives up here since then, and go back. They still have a house in Mexico. We go back. They go back a couple times a year, probably because the weather is a lot better than winter in Chicago. But it's been a big fan for years. And if you would have told me 10 months ago Mexico made it this far, I would not have believed you. But the vibes are good now.
Well, this is the thing. Mexico, after beating Ecuador, you've made it through. You've won your first knockout game in however long, haven't you?
40 years since the last time Mexico hosted the World Cup.
back in '86. Yeah. So, I mean, what was the feeling before the World Cup started with like the Mexican public? Obviously, you were hosting it, so there had to be good feeling for that.
The Mexican soccer fans very pessimistic. Last fall we got destroyed by Colombia. I think it was 4-0, 3-0. It was bad. It was a bad game, and that was at that point everyone's like, this could be embarrassing. We could get grouped in our own country hosting the World Cup, and the vibes are not good. Vasco, the manager from Mexico, he's back for his third term. People weren't happy with the hire. I'll admit on this podcast, I was hoping we would look at Bielsa or something like that. Ooh. That obviously did not work out. But Vasco has a history of, he's his third time managing Mexico. When he managed club teams, he managed the Mallorcas of the world. So he plays with his teams ready to suffer. And the Mexican people, they want to play free-flowing attacking soccer. And we just don't have the player pool for that. We just haven't had it for this cycle, probably since 2022. And there was a disconnect, but the vibes are good now. We see the results. I mean, I don't know if you've been watching Mexico games, but even then we've gotten booed at halftime if we don't look good. I mean, so it's like the fans demand more than what this player pool can probably deliver, but the whole country's rallied around the team now, and everyone's excited.
So you're obviously playing above what you felt they were capable of. But I mean, 3 group wins, convincing group wins, I guess, as well, and the win over Ecuador. Confidence, it's got to be riding high, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's riding high, and the Czechia game kind of solidified it for me in terms of, I thought that was going to be an ugly 1-0 win. Czechia played for set pieces, but Mexico kind of opened it up and scored 3 goals. And I can't remember the last time Mexico scored 3 goals in a competitive fixture as opposed to like a friendly. So it kind of opened up the eyes of, well, maybe Mexico is a little bit more than just bunkering down and hoping for something to happen. Maybe they're a little more proactive. And when the Ecuador game started, the first 25 minutes, especially before the hydration break, that was the best Mexico has played in a long time, and a lot of fans and pundits were saying that was one of the better halves of the World Cup. They took it to Ecuador, and it was fun to watch. So now it's like, which Mexico are we going to see against England? The one that sits down and bunkers down like we did against South Korea, play with a double pivot, or the one that takes it to England and tries to get the early goal?
I mean, obviously you've played all your 4 games on home soil, 3 of those at the Azteca. It's got to have helped, hasn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if you've been to a high altitude place, but it's real. The mental and the physical it takes to just. I've gone to Denver in the United States, and that's about 6,000 feet above sea level. First day I was there, I went up this one level of stairs to the parking garage. I was dying. My lungs hurt. I was like, I know I'm not in the super best shape, but this is just rough. So it's a huge advantage, and Mexico has been there. They don't have as many European players, obviously, as other teams in the World Cup, but the team has been in Mexico City. So even if you play in Mexico in a different part of the country, they've been at Mexico City since early May. So we're looking at 2 months of basically being in Mexico City or around. I think Mexico has only left Mexico City for the Guadalajara game against South Korea, and then I think we played a friendly in California in middle of May. So they're acclimated. I know Tuchel has said that it's going to be a challenge because I think they arrived Friday afternoon to Mexico City, so that is not enough time for them to get acclimated. And I'll be curious to see if your sideline has oxygen tanks.
Really? Is that something that you've seen before?
I haven't really seen. Actually, you know what? I have seen it in soccer. I've seen the U.S. men's national team have oxygen tanks like near the bench or at halftime, and they use them because this could be worse. Mexico would schedule the United States in the World Cup qualifiers in the middle of the day, so the smog was at peak, smogness, altitude, and it was brutal. Like we were saying before we started recording, these games are at least at night, so it's the temperature is a little cooler, but it's gonna be rough. My thing is, if Mexico keeps it close, by the time the second hydration break hits around the 67th minute, I think they have a chance to do something to England because I think all their games have been at less than 200-300 feet above sea level. And I saw some stat, of course. I don't know if it's true, so please fact check me. Harry Kane's never played a game above 500 feet above sea level.
I've got to be honest, that's not the sort of stat that I'm aware of. And I wonder if he even knows that. Obviously this altitude, you're aware of it, and the more this game has been on the horizon, people have been talking about it. I was under the impression that you could, if you were to just fly in, play the game, fly out, you may not be affected by it too much because your body just doesn't have the time to.
So there are two different mindsets, and I've noticed in sports in the U.S. because in the U.S., pretty much every sports team has a team in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah,
and they're about 6,000 feet above sea level. Granted, this game's over 7,000 feet above sea level, but there are two mindsets. Some teams come in the night before the game, and they think that helps. Other teams try to get there as early as possible to try to get acclimated even more so. I think England kind of couldn't do either because they can't come in the day before the game because they got FIFA media obligations they got to take care of. So and they played one day after Mexico, so it was damn if you do, damn if you don't. So yeah. I know what you're saying. Some teams do that. Well, they'll come in and the day before a high altitude game, play it and get out. But like I said, England didn't have the luxury of doing that. It's not like they could fly in Saturday afternoon. I think they're flying in Friday afternoon because they got to do media obligations and all that stuff. So
yeah,
we'll see. At least that means they get a training session in, I think, Friday afternoon.
Get a chance to see where that oxygen tank is.
Yeah, it's funny that a lot of British media keep focusing on that altitude and all that, and I think Mexico has a chance, but I'm not naive. Mexico does not have the talent that England does, but this isn't a game played perfect conditions and everything. It's like you said, It is an advantage. So we'll see. And the biggest thing Mexico has, quote unquote, going against it. I mean, I'm sure you've heard the phrase "everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth." Mexico hasn't gotten punched. They haven't given up a goal. So we haven't seen how they'll react. I mean, we saw England go down against Congo, and they came back and they've had some adversity. Mexico hasn't really had any yet, so it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah. Fair comment. Tell us about obviously some of the players. Obviously, we know Raul Jimenez has been at Fulham, now transferred to Wolves. Who's the other fella that scored 3 goals so far? I always struggle to pronounce his name.
Julian Quinones.
That's it. Are they your 2 prime players?
So the thing with Mexico that kind of surprises me is every game has had its own distinct game plan. He's kind of moved pieces in and out, but yeah, Raul Jimenez is going to start. He's the talisman. He's the offense goes through him, whether he's the end result or he's the guy that connects it in the mid. He drops back into the midfield. But Quinones has just been a revelation. He's been doing. He played at Club America, which a lot of these players have played at Club America. We have Quinones who played at Club America, Jimenez, Fidalgo who's seen some minutes. So these guys, Jorge Sanchez, these guys have lived and played at that Estadio Azteca. So they have some experience there. But yeah, Quinones is probably our most important attacker. He's going to start. He's going to be on the left wing. He's going to be cutting in as an inside forward. Jimenez will be dropping back, connecting it. And then it's funny, we have a player, Roberto Alvarado, who's going to play on the right wing, but you will probably see him as a right wing back more than a right winger.
Right.
Mexico likes to drop back in a group of 5. So it's a very, very tactical, much more tactical than I'm used to as a Mexico fan. It's very, they even have like scripted plays from throw-ins. I've noticed it's interesting. So there's only maybe 2 or 3 positions that I think have a chance of swapping players in the last game. So if you saw the Ecuador game, that is probably going to be who we play. The big difference is, I'm sure we've all heard it, Gilberto Mora, the 17-year-old kid that apparently has several offers from England. But if he starts for Mexico, that is kind of like a sign that we're going to be more attacking, more front foot. If he doesn't, if we play, say, Edson Alvarez in there as a double pivot, then it means we're going to suffer. We're going to try to hold on at first and maybe attack in the second half. That if that's kind of like the case, if Mora's starting, we're going to be attacking. If not, we might need to sit. We will probably sit back a little bit, try to absorb what you guys are going to do to us.
Okay. I mean, is there anyone in the England side that obviously the people are talking about, or you yourself think, oh, I mean, other than the obvious, probably your Harry Kanes and Jude Bellingham?
Rashford and Madueke. Mexico, those guys are shifty wingers, and I don't think luckily our fullbacks won't have to do it one-on-one, because I don't think we could do it. But we'll probably use a double pivot. So we'll try not to have those guys be 1v1 against our defenders. But Gordon, he's coming off the bench, and I think if he doesn't start, whenever he comes on, it's going to be key, because he'll be fresh. He'll be fresh, whether it's the 50th minute, 60th minute. So it's going to be interesting. And we don't have 1v1 defenders against those guys. Those guys scare me. Obviously, Harry Kane, Bellingham, those guys, you know what you're going to get from them. They're great. But it's the question I have for you, like, if those guys overextend and push up, can your fullbacks defend?
No. Well, this is the thing. The thing here in England, and myself personally, is our defence. Obviously, our right back situation, we are in a bit of dire straits. Consular and Gay don't seem to be gelling as a central pairing. I mean, if you've seen the games that we've played, we've been caught on a quick counter attack. Okay, we haven't been punished, but I've maintained that a good team will punish us.
Yeah, I thought if Congo would have put a second one past you guys, I thought, oh man, could it be Mexico Congo at the Azteca? But Harry Kane is just, I'm not gonna say he carried you guys, but he's just in another level right now.
Oh, there was a WhatsApp sort of joke going around that someone had bought a Harry Kane tea tray to carry 10 mugs.
I heard someone say, I don't know if it was Rooney or, I mean, there's a million British gay shows analyzing the World Cup. Someone said that the best right back you guys have right now is Declan Rice.
Yeah, well, yeah. After he was playing there the other day, yeah, that's the situation that unfortunately we're in, and yeah, it's unfortunate. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about who Tuchel didn't take. Trent Alexander-Arnold being a named person, but we can't change the team now. So there we go.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about Pickford as your last line of defense?
Well, I mean, really, he shouldn't have been beaten at his near post against Congo. He hasn't let England down in the games that he's played. He's actually played that game last night against Congo was his 30th consecutive, I think, was it tournament game or something? No, something like that. He's been ever present really for England.
Correct me if I'm wrong. James Trafford.
Yeah.
How many games has he played this year?
For Manchester City?
Yeah.
To be honest, I think he would have played about 6.
It says 17. It says 17. I didn't think he played that much. Sorry.
Well, this was a thing that obviously Manchester City bought him, and then they bought in Donnarumma, who is by far a more mature, experienced goalkeeper than James Trafford. Obviously, James Trafford went into Manchester City thinking, I've got a good chance here of being number one and staking a claim for England. And obviously, Donnarumma came in and stole his place.
Yeah, and I just saw that he was on the roster because I was looking at the other keepers. I was like, he made it. Like, I mean, I guess not everyone is Mexico when you're playing your backup goalie. Like we put in Memo Ochoa, but still, yeah, I think it's going to be a great game. The atmosphere should be great. The vibes of I'm excited. This is the game that I had on my calendar circled from when the draw happened. Assuming Mexico won their group, I was like, okay, this will be it. And like I said, Mexico not as talented as England, but if we have a chance to beat them, it's at the Azteca.
Going to the Azteca, going to Mexico City, is there any sort of hints and tips that you can pass on
just stay hydrated. Stay hydrated. Go to places as early as you can. The Fan Fest. I've had friends who've gone there for several of the games. It fills up quickly. So just get to places early. Drink a lot of water and have fun, man. The atmosphere has been crazy. Everyone who's gone there has told me it's been amazing. The fans. It's not mean spirited. Everyone's there just to have a good time. There's no hooliganism. It's great. It's just have fun. Just live it up. It's going to be great. If anyone's going out there to the game, it's going to be an amazing atmosphere.
I think we're both pretty envious, aren't we?
Yes, very envious. If I would have won the lottery back in 6-7 months ago, this would have been the game I would have bought a ticket for sure.
Yeah. What have your general thoughts been on the World Cup so far?
Do you remember when the Euros expanded? Was it the last cycle or 2 cycles ago? And there was a lot of draws and a lot because that's the tournament where some third place teams were going through.
Yes. And
there felt like a lot of those quote unquote minnows were just like bunkering down, like we're going to take a point. I thought that's what was going to happen at this World Cup. There was going to be a lot of bunkering down and trying to get that be a third place team to get through. But I was surprised. It was a lot more competitive across the board. A lot of first. Curacao kind of captivating everyone. Cape Verde, I expected more blowouts, if that makes sense. Yes. I expected more 5-0s, something along those lines. And I think there's only been a couple of those. It's been pretty competitive across the board. So 48 teams. I don't know. It needs to stay at this. We joked about it before, but if it's 64 by the time it's in Saudi in 2034, I think we've lost the plot at that point.
Well, what's your thoughts on the hydration break?
It is trash. I if you a lot of those sports apps have like the momentum bars and things like that. Like this is the momentum of the game. I dare you to look at those and see where the hydration break, and then see there's not a difference. Like it's just even yesterday in the game for the U.S. they had a red card. The best part about the U.S. getting the red card is it was 2 minutes before the hydration break. So guess what? As soon as that happened, Pochettino was able to get his team regroup and set them out there with a whole new game plan. I'm a basketball fan. It kind of splits the game into 4 quarters. I've been joking. It's the first quarter, the second quarter, the third, and the fourth. I don't like it. And Infantino's going to spin it. And I know this World Cup was not a part of the negotiations for the TV rights. I'm telling you now, when he does it for the next 2 World Cups, I bet you that's going to be in the contract that there's going to be these hydration breaks, which is what I don't want.
Yeah, no, you're not alone in thinking that. Just touching on the States, being in the States yourself in Chicago, there, how have you felt like the America have done?
America, the U.S. they've done well. I mean, they had kind of the opposite of Mexico. Mexico, the last 6 months, the vibes were good, things were looking good. From the March friendlies, fans started to turn a little bit on Pochettino. They were kind of like, what is he doing with his tactics? That he didn't seem to be all in. There was rumors that he was looking at a couple of the jobs already for club soccer after the World Cup. But they've done well. That first half against Paraguay kind of set the tone for them. I think they were a little hard done last night by the red card. I still think it was a red card, maybe a little softer than I thought. He wasn't trying to stamp on his ankle, but he did. I think if Messi, it's funny, as soon as it happened, everyone's like, well, what about Messi? And it's like, it's 2 separate incidents, but I get the outrage because Messi didn't even get a yellow card. That was ridiculous. But I don't know how they're going to do going forward because Balogun he looked like an animal last night. He could have had 2 or 3 goals before he got a red carded. So they need to survive against Belgium. I don't know how Belgium made advance past Senegal. That was terrible. I mean, I saw them arguing. I saw Lukaku arguing with Tielemans for the penalty kick, and then he gave it up, and Tielemans scored. Like, they're a dumpster fire. But I think even without Balogun, I think the U.S. is favored against them. And then after that, I'm not sure who's in their pool. But this is all fun and games because it's just France is going to win it all. Jesus Christ. I mean, France is just insane. I don't know how anyone beats them.
Mbappe is just something.
Oh, my gosh. Mbappe.
Yeah. Go on then, tell us about the colourful kit
Yeah, it's just a podcast I've been doing with some of my friends, kind of covering the Mexican national team, a little bit more Mexican soccer as a whole. So you'll see some Liga MX. We'll talk about it. We try to do podcasts before and like after during the international windows. So it's not like every week during like the dog days of the international calendar. So we'll probably take a little break after the World Cup. But yeah, I bring in people who cover the team as well. Some people work at goal.com, CBS, ESPN, those guys. We just talk Mexican soccer in English. The Mexican soccer, Mexico as a national team is a little different because they have they have such a huge fan base in the U.S. So it's like there's plenty of fans that support Mexico that don't speak Spanish that much. So it's kind of crazy. I mean, one of the big things that a lot of Mexico fans dislike about the Mexican national team is they play the bulk of their games in the U.S. It's kind of crazy.
Okay. Obviously, the colourful kit name comes from is it Jorge Campos, the goalkeeper. What a goalkeeper he was. What a character.
Yeah, and he actually did play in Chicago for the MLS team, and yeah, he's he does some broadcasting in Mexico, and it's funny because he'll wear a suit, tie, walk around, but you see him and he's wearing sandals. He always wears sandals, and he's just interesting character. And there's a famous story, and I think it's true from what I've heard, that when he was signing with MLS back in the 90s, he was one of their first big signings. He said, yeah, that's good, but I need a Lamborghini. Or I think it was a Lamborghini and Ferrari. They gave it to him because they needed him to start the soccer league in the U.S. So he's an interesting character. Yeah, and I'm glad he's seen a little bit of a resurgence. I think Nike is working on a collection with him to release in Mexico. So and that is why it's the colorful kid, because it's Jorge Campos, one of my favorite players. And all you guys who play FIFA out there, you know who Jorge Campos is because he always has one of the best Ultimate Team cards. So.
Okay. I mean, I'm wondering if he's going to be when they pan across the crowd to the ex-players in the crowd. Will he be there, or has he been there?
He was there against Ecuador, and then after the game, there's footage of him leaving the arena and running out because there's this big town square, and he was running out to be with the fans. So yeah, he's been at those games, so he'll probably be up there right behind Infantino.
Marvelous, excellent.
Question: Rashford or Gordon? Like, who is starting out there?
It's a tough one, really, isn't it? Because obviously Gordon played the first game against Croatia and didn't really have the best of games. Was replaced by Rashford. Rashford held his place against Ghana, Panama, and then against Congo. Gordon came on, replaced him, provided the two crosses for Kane to score. So you would imagine, based on that Gordon might get his opportunity. I mean, to be fair, both of them, either one starts and then the other one comes on as a substitute. They're both going to be dangerous, I think.
Yeah, I think subs will be key in this game. I think, especially for England, I think they need to be quick on the trigger on the subs. You know, I know players aren't going to like to be getting subbed out in like the 60th minute, but if England waits too long to make subs, it's going to end poorly because you can tell a lot of these games, especially like Mexico, the Czechia game. Czechia was good. By the time they got to the hydration break in the second half, they were gassed. So yeah. I think it's neither here nor there. I think both players will play, Rashford and Gordon, but I think when Tuchel makes those changes, I think it's going to be key for England.
Fair enough. I think you're fairly confident based on the conditions, aren't you?
No, I'm a Mexico fan. I'm never confident. That's one of the things you'll learn about Mexico fans. We're surprised. We have hope. Yes, this team has given us hope, but you could tell me England wins 3-0 at the Azteca or Mexico wins 2-0. And both of those possibilities exist in my mind. It's just, we've been burned before. So it's kind of like, damn if you do, damn if you don't. But I feel better than I thought I was going to, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you're daring to dream.
Yeah, if Mexico were to slay a giant, these are the perfect conditions for Mexico to slay a giant, you know?
Fair enough. Go on then. Before we leave you, where can we find the Colourful Kit podcast?
Yeah, you can find us at on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, on YouTube. Yeah, and you can find my socials, Blue Sky at the Colourful Kit, and then same thing on Twitter at the Colourful Kit.
Raul, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciated. Enjoy the game. Enjoy the rest of the World Cup.
Thanks, and hopefully we have a good spirited game, competitive game. Let's hope for that.
Thanks so much to Raul there from the Colourful Kit podcast. I should add, if you're searching for it, there is no U in colourful. I know. It's the spelling. But great to chat with him. Go check him out. thecolourfulkit.com and the Colourful Kit podcast. Now, England against Mexico. The game kicks off 6 p.m. Mexico City time, which is 1 a.m. UK time. 1 a.m. Monday morning. And it was announced by Prime Minister Keir Starmer that the pubs can stay open until 5 a.m. should they want to.
We're making sure that pubs can stay open on Monday morning, early on Monday morning for the England game. So I know lots of people are making their plans. If you're planning to watch it in the pub, that is great, and it's really good for pubs as well. So come on, England.
Now, I don't generally like to mix the politics and the football, but that may well be his lasting legacy, allowing the pubs to open for us to watch the England game. Now, I don't know where you're going to be watching it, whether you're staying up, whether you are going to the pub, whether you're going to watch it in the front room, or will you get up early and watch it on catch up? However you do, hopefully you'll enjoy it. Once again, it is a quick turnaround of games. I'll be honest, I tried to get a guide to Mexico City, but it just wasn't to be, I'm afraid. Now, before I leave you, can I just remind you that the nominations for the Football Content Awards are once again open. You can suggest your favourite content creator over at footballcontentawards.com. So many different categories for you to choose from, so many different nominations, so many different creators out there. Last year, the show came second, won silver in the Best Podcast International category. Let's see what happens this year. Right, let's leave it there. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. Enjoy the game. If you are there and listening in, or if you're flying out for it, safe trip, enjoy, and give the boys a cheer on for those of us back home. I will be back with you very soon with some more England World Cup content. Hopefully, an episode looking towards the quarter-finals. We'll see. So until then, take care of yourselves. Cheers.